David Nir is here with Daily Kos. Also, Justin Jones. We got my brother here with us. How you both doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Real good, real good.
Glad to have you with us. Justin, you've been on a couple of panels already today.
Yeah, we did 2 panels today.
Okay, and what were those about? Who were the topics?
The first panel was looking at these attacks on critical race theory, DEI, with Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, and looking at this effort to roll us back in history. And the second one was focused on state houses as being a front line that we must continue to fight in against these attacks on racial justice, on healthcare, on equity and inclusion, and on the vision of restoration of democracy. So those are the 2 panels we did.
David, you've been covering, as he just said to me. I want you to say it the way you just said it to me, about what you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I want folks to remember that there are 500,000 elected positions in the United States. And we can't obsess about just one, no matter how important it is. We have to remember the other 499,999. And those include those held by folks like Justin Jones, who are on the front lines dealing with the crazy radical right stuff that is coming up through the states, because that's where they get their start.
Because everybody right now is fixated on what Biden isn't going to do. What's your position?
My focus is at the State House, and I think that's really where we continue to lift up the fight against authoritarianism. That's where my focus has been. So we'll continue to lift up our State House. So that if we can win 10 seats back in our State House, we'll break the supermajority. We'll be able to stop them from what they did last year, expelling members, silencing the debate, allowing it so that they use Tennessee as a testing ground for using extreme policies. So we'll just focus on what we can do at the state level and continue to push at the state level. The problem is that we'll be fighting.
How's Gloria's campaign going against Marshall Blackburn?
I mean, Gloria's doing amazing. We just had to pull out propaganda bill that if just women were voting, Gloria definitely beats Marshall. And so we are going to continue to organize and look at that Senate race and the state house races. I mean, we have some amazing folks running. Shondell Brooks, a mother who lost her son to a mass shooting, is running for an open Democratic seat in Nashville. Someone I've put my full support behind. If we get more people like Shondell, people who are impacted by these issues of gun violence, people who are proximate to the pain, who should be in power, that's how we'll transform the state of Tennessee. And I believe that if we're successful in Tennessee, it'll give us a blueprint of resisting fascism and authoritarianism as it spreads across this nation. If Tennessee's really the tip of the spear, we have to address these issues head on.
So what do you say to people, David, who are fixated on the national race and that's about it?
I say there are so many opportunities to get involved. And not only that, if you are a small dollar grassroots progressive donor, you get such great bang for your buck giving to, for instance, a race for the state legislature. And not just in the super competitive states, but also breaking those supermajorities, like Justin just said. That's really, really critical. So whether it's something like State House, State Senate, State Supreme Court, you can have a huge impact in those races, donating, volunteering, telling your friends about them. Really, they are high leverage races.
And really, that's something that is overlooked, because they're building supermajorities in the states, which affect redistricting and everything else. People don't realize that. And that's going to determine who's going to be in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, right? Tennessee, that kind of went under the radar. Now they got a super duper majority, right?
I mean, Tennessee, this is the first time that Nashville is represented by a Republican in Congress since Reconstruction, since the Civil War, because the state legislature redrew our map in Nashville, split one city into 3 different congressional districts. Instead of having one congressional district, now we're split into 3, and it took away our voice. And so, the state legislature, the legislature that passed laws trying to cut our city council in half. This is the state legislature that took over the board at TSU to vacate the board at Tennessee State University. This is the state legislature that made it so that 37208 is the most incarcerated zip code in the nation in Nashville. And so the state house is really where we must fight, because the Republicans have had this long-term vision of red to roots, where they took over state houses, took over school boards, took over city and county governments, and that's why they took these, took hold of power. And so we must reclaim these spaces and not just focus at the federal level, look at the state house as a front line of democracy. In this time that we're in.
I think the example he sets too is one whereby, because I'm sure you all hear this. People call me every day. I'm gonna run for U.S. Senate. Don't nobody know you. People want to go right to the top. We need people like him.
Yep.
In these state races, don't we?
Absolutely. I mean, that's our farm team. That is how we build up talent. Folks like Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, you never know when you'll catch fire that way. And then the sky's the limit. And I always think that the best way to run for office is to start low. And, a lot of people, like you said, Mark, they want to jump.
Thank both of you for stopping by. You'll be here. You've been here the whole time. You're always in Netroots too.
It is my second year. Yes.
Just want to mention we were together last weekend, y'all, for James Lawson's funeral. And how was that experience for you? He was a mentor of
He was a
yours.
mentor and somebody who directly connected to our movement in Nashville. We train young people like John Lewis and Diane Nash and Bernard Sweat. And he ran for office himself, actually, a school board in Memphis.
Wow.
Somebody who was an architect of nonviolence. The funeral, what I heard most was that we must honor Reverend Lawson by continuing the struggle that he gave his life for to make this nation live up to what it ought to be, not what it falsely has claimed to be, what it can be. He's somebody who, as Ron Meacham said, is really a true founding father of this nation who made real democracy. Because we didn't have any real opportunity of democracy in 1965 in this nation when the voting rights act was passed. So Reverend Lawson is somebody who invested in young people, who saw the South as a critical place. He left Ohio, coming to the South. That's the message I want to end with, is that the South is an important space that we should not seek around. And a lot of people right off the South say that change is possible. But the truth is that if we're going to change this nation, we must lift up the South, lift up what the organizing that's going on in the South, invest in the organizing in the South, and do what Reverend Lawson did, which is train up a new generation to rise up against these systems of Jim Crow and white nationalist terror. Like just this past weekend, we had white nationalists marching in Nashville, Patriot Front, 200 members chanting.
Why? What was that about? Why did they come down?
They came to Nashville because my Republican colleagues continue to welcome them in Nashville with their policies that are anti-immigrant, that are anti-LGBTQ, that are anti-Black, that are about banning diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's why they keep coming. This is the second time in 3 months that white supremacists have come to Nashville. And because my Republican colleagues have given a call in response and have invited them here with their policies, with their rhetoric. And so this goes to, the question can be asked to the governor, can be asked to Speaker Sexton, the majority of the members, why do white nationalists keep coming here, and why do they refuse to condemn them? That's the thing that's happening.
So they just turned Nashville into a playground.
It turned it into an epicenter of racial terror, of a laboratory where they're testing out these horrible ideas to roll back our democracy. And that's why, Nashville's the tip of the spear. It's also a canary in the coal mine. Like, let us hear the alarm of what's happening here and not let them take us back into nation. But if we resisted in Nashville, we're successful, it'll give us a blueprint of resistance across this nation.
Before you ever go, you probably want to hear this. Highlight for us some of these important state races that you're looking at that can really make a difference.
Absolutely. I want to.
And we're talking about, we've also got abortion on the ballot.
We've got abortion on the ballot. There are going to be a whole number of states where voters are going to have a chance to enshrine abortion rights into their state constitution. They did it in Ohio successfully. Arizona, Missouri, a whole bunch of other places. And also, I want to call attention to state Supreme Court races. We have seen how unbelievably lawless and unhinged the federal Supreme Court is, saying that the presidency is actually a monarchy. Well, the best way we can push back on that right now is to elect fair-minded judges to the bench at the top courts throughout the nation. We have chances in Ohio, North Carolina, Michigan, and Montana. These are all super important races. Don't let them fly under the radar.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
James Lawson, this is student James Lawson, folks. And we both learned a lot from him. And want to let people know, this is my takeaway. You got to say to all these young people, I want you to hear this too. Reverend Lawson wasn't about nonviolence for nonviolence sake. That wasn't just something to do. It was attached to agitation. It wasn't a friendly form of nonviolence. It caused trouble, shook things up, and it was protracted struggle. Okay, so what that means is Lawson and them would have a nonviolent direct action against you, meet a couple of demands, and then come back and hit you again. A lot of us now, we want to have one march, and that's it. All right, so we need to go back and read some of it. Everybody talking about struggle and organizing doesn't talk about that anymore. We need to live up to that legacy. Am I right?
That's it. Yeah, nonviolence that is confrontational,
That's
that's
right.
disruptive. That's what we saw last year.
And long term.
Long term.
In the House floor, we saw people organizing, coming to the Capitol. And the thing is that if you look at the state houses, they're so terrified of the nonviolent direct action. These students who took over our state Capitol after the mass shooting, that they ended up such an order. They're not used to pushback. And so I think, particularly at the state level, Washington is hard for people to get to, but you can bring these campaigns of nonviolence to your state houses, to your city halls, and you can have a real impact. So I think people must continue to show up at the state and local level, because that's where we can really impact change. And some of these state house races are won by 1,000 votes, 100 votes. I mean, these are races that we can actually have an impact with our voting, particularly in the South.
That's right. And then folks didn't change the districting in terms of how you're represented. And as he said, Reverend Lawson ran for school board. All that stuff is important. The Moms for Liberty have been trying to take over school boards. So we need people to run school board. We need people to do things, change the police departments and schools and election boards are governed locally. It's a myth that they govern on Twitter or in some national level. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Good to
I'll
see
see you around, brother.
Yeah.
All right, all right. David,
Thank you. Appreciate
keep up the good work, man. David with Daily Kos. Tell me again what city you operate out of.
I'm in New York City.
That's right. You're in New York City. We got to get together, man.
We do.
While we up in New York. David Nir with us, folks. Daily Kos. Be sure to check him out if you're not already.
All right, thank you. It was really good to
thank
see you.
It's good to see you too, man.